Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu
Sahaviryam Karavavahai
Tejasvinavadhitamastu
Vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Kabir Das ji says very nicely in his Doha that Prema gali badi sakari jame do na samahi. जब मैं था हरि नाही, अब हरि है मैं नाही. The lane of love is very narrow. It is only one way. Only one person can pass through it at a time. Earlier, when I was there, God was not there. Now, when God is there, I am not there. Long back, Bhagavan told me, where there is Sai, there is no I. And where there is I, there is no Sai. This is exactly what we discussed yesterday, that God and world or ego, one's individuality, are mutually exclusive. They cannot come together like oil and water. If you have your individual ego, you cannot have divine consciousness. If you have divine consciousness, there is no possibility of individual consciousness. Like darkness and light, they are different. They cannot exist together. That clarity everybody should have in their life. This thinking that somehow we will also have the world and also will have God and we will enjoy both somehow, it is not true. The one who is godly will not enjoy the world. World is tasteless, insipid for such a person. He will go through the world as it is needed. He will eat what is needed to be eaten. He will do what is needed to be done without any excitement or dejection, without any desire for wanting it or rejecting it, without any idea of desiring and then getting upset that you do not get your desires fulfilled. So for them, world is just a means to the end of God. They only use it to that extent. They don't get attached to it. Like if you want to catch a flight, you have to take a taxi, go to the airport. Once you reach the airport, which is your goal, you are going to abandon the taxi. Howsoever beautiful the taxi is, howsoever comfortable the ride is, once your destination is reached, you have to give it up and then get into the flight. Where when you have to take to the flight, you can't be sitting in the taxi. And if you're sitting in the taxi, you cannot be in the flight. Likewise, the world for the godly people is just means to the end of realizing God. If it helps us realize God, then we will be happy, we'll work in the world. If it is coming in the way of God, then we will give up the world. That clarity a seeker must always have. There is no question and no time should be required to think which one to choose. If you think, it means you are not yet there. You have not even convinced yourself what matters and what does not matter. What is your true purpose? There is no thinking required. The moment question is asked, God or world, the answer always is God. And Bhagavan used to say, if you catch the shadow coconuts, you will get nothing. But if you climb the real coconut tree, you will get the shadow coconuts as well. Likewise, if you get God, you will get the world too. He used to tell another story that there was a prince who displayed all that he had, all his wealth, on his birthday for the people of his country to take whatever they want as a birthday gift from his side. So everybody came and they started taking whatever they liked: gold, money, jewelry, gems, very beautiful articles, and so on. But there was one young girl who did not pick up anything. And this prince, who was in the disguise of an ordinary man, moving about the place, the exhibition, to see what people were choosing and taking, he was surprised to see why this young girl is not picking up anything, not taking anything. So out of curiosity, he approached her and asked, what is that? Does nothing interest you in all this display of my wealth and my accumulations? The girl said, which I am looking for is not here. And he asked, what is that? I have kept everything on display. If it's not there, you tell me and I will give you. And the girl said, I am looking for the prince. I want the prince and not his wealth. Because I know if I have the prince, I have the kingdom too. If I have the king, I have the kingdom too. So the Gyanis are like that. In this absolutely tempting and engaging and distracting world where everything is so very enticing, enamoring, enchanting, they look for God. They don't get influenced by all the display of the beautiful things that God places on this earth. All the relations, all the accumulation, all the amassment of wealth, name, fame, progeny, position, power, all this is display. This is all God's property, which is on display when you come to earth. It's a big exhibition that is going on. But fools or the less intelligent ones, they run after all these things. They get excited. Oh, I want money. The other one says, I want a beautiful spouse. Third one says, I want a big bungalow and a house. Fourth one runs behind position or power. Like that, each runs behind all the items that are on display. But the wise one searches for God, who is hiding in this world, like the prince in his disguise. And then God approaches such a jnani, such a seeker. What is it that you want? Nothing interests you in my world? All these beautiful things that I have put on display, nothing arouses your interest? Then the jnani says, yes, none of this tempts me, none of this I desire. I am looking for something which is not on display. And then God asks, what is that you want? He says, I want God. And then God reveals himself, say, here I am, take me. So that is what I was saying. Those who want God, they will get God only. Those who want world and God, they will neither get God nor they will get the world. They think they are getting both, but they will get none at the end. So that clarity from the day one is extremely important. What do I want? I want God. If world comes along with God, so be it. If world is against my progress towards God, so I don't want the world at all. That kind of understanding is what all this spiritual reading, listening, contemplating should lead us to. That clarity should be absolutely 100%. When somebody asks again, today, after 10 years, after 50 years or 100 years, the answer is same. This answer does not change. That I always wanted God, I want God, and I will always be wanting God. And world is of no consequence to me unless it is taking me to God. That clarity one should develop quite early in life, because if you don't develop that clarity, then we will always be stuck in the world, running behind all the items on display, forgetting the very owner of this world, who is also available to take. But we don't think of him, we don't ask him, because he is not on display. So that is the idea, which is why all these subjects are taught quite early to students. And if God decides that you must have world with you, so be it. Janaka was a king after all. He is a king because he was made a king by whatever destiny, and he is continuing to be a king. Yet, kingship is not what he desires for. It has come by virtue of his destiny. But what he desires for is godhood. That clarity is whatever. You want to come here, get an education, fine. But education is not the end of your journey. That's not the goal which you came for. Education is a means to the higher goal of knowing God. This education should lead you to God. You have come here for a job or an employment, fine. But job and employment cannot be the reason why you're here. It should become the means to the end of God realization. Because you work for such an organization, there is a possibility for you to realize God. You come here for sadhana, but sadhana is a means to realize God. People getting stuck in the sadhana itself. I chant 1008 times. How many times have you chanted the name today? I repeated whatever I turned the rosary beads 108 times. How many times do you turn? These kind of comparisons don't work. And some people show offs. I did not sleep whole night. None of the Shivratris I have slept. None of the Akhand Bhajans I have slept. How many Akhand Bhajans did you stay awake? How many Shivratris did you stay awake? If you stayed awake, fine, good for you. But there is no need to go and tell others about it and then expect them to recognize you and reward you, including going to God and telling, you know how much I have done for you, how much donations I have made, how many hours I have worked in your mission, how many sacrifices I have made. So in return, please do all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me. That is not the idea. You made sacrifices so that you can grow towards God. Nothing else. So this purpose of why we are here should be extremely clear in our head. See, that clarity, if it is not there, then even in the best of the place like this, we will still be entangled in the worldly desires. We'll still be running behind those tinsels and glitter of the worldly things, and we will never realize God. Remember the pussycat in the poem who went to see the queen but ended up only seeing a mouse, because the purpose of the pussycat was to see the queen. However, she forgot. The pussycat forgot that it was the queen that it has come to see. Its instincts drove it to only search for mouse. So we here coming in ashram cannot become the spiritual pussycats who those say we want God, but at the end what matters to us is position, power, authority, salary, increments and promotions and friendships and other companionships. If that is what becomes, then we become that spiritual pussycat which went to London to see the queen but ended up seeing the mouse under the chair. So that is why I keep repeating that clarity is extremely important why we are here. And if you have that clear clarity, the rest will follow. So with that, the next chapter of Ashtavakra Gita, where in the first chapter he told us the reasons for our bondage. Narsimurti ji has already summarized it, that when we desire for something and then we feel sad, when we want to get rid of something or we want to attain something, when we become excited or we get angry, all these dualities are bondages only. And as long as your body idea that you are the body exists, these dualities will go on troubling you. They will never leave you. So the next chapter of Ashtavakra Gita, Ashtavakra continues to say, Shloka 9.1, he says, Kruta akrute cha dvandvani kada shantani kasyava evam gyatveha nirvedvat bhava tyaga paro avrati. A little sandhis are there, so we'll break it slowly. Krita akrita. There are two things in this world. Krita means that which is done, and akrita, that which is not done. In spiritual parlance, it is known as karya and karana. Karya means the work that is done in the world, and karana is the reason, the cause for which it is done. So these two are the dvandvas, the dualities that exist in the world. Kada shantani kasyava. The one who is of the absolute peaceful demeanor, who has realized the self, for such a person, these dualities do not exist. That this has to be done, this should not be done, this needs to be done, that needs to be avoided. This concept of doing and not doing does not exist for the one who is established in the peace. Because once these exist, there is no peace. It will keep disturbing you. A thought will arise, I must do this, and then you will end up doing that. That will lead to another thought. That thought will lead you to another action. That action will lead to another desire. And endlessly this cycle goes on, krita akrita cycle. So such a person who has realized the self and is at peace, where and how can there be duality of doing or desiring? Both do not exist. Evam gyatveha, knowing this, nirvedad bhava. Nirveda is the word he is using. Nirveda is become detached, dispassionate towards it, become desireless towards it. And tyaga paro avratihi, sacrifice all these ideas of doing and desiring. Because desire will lead to doing, and doing will lead to more desiring, and desiring will lead to more doing, and the cycle goes on and on and on. So get out of it, become dispassionate, detached from this idea of continuously desiring and continuously doing. Tyaga paraha, become devoted to tyaga, detachment, avrati, and become avrati, free from these insistence that I must do something, I must be engaged in something, I must always be achieving something, pushing myself to do the next thing. Get rid of this, what you call an adamance or some kind of a vrata means a pledge, as if we have taken a pledge that we have to do this. Get rid of this persistence or yes, insistence on going on desiring and doing, not necessary. Now, if you look at our original idea of why we get stuck, there are three things: avidya, kama, karma, which I call as hridaya granthi, the knots of the heart. Avidya is wrong knowledge, kama is wrong desire, and karma is wrong action. Wrong knowledge leads to wrong desire, leads to wrong action. And that is why he's saying that first you have the right knowledge. That is important, that you are beyond this doing and desiring. This kama, karma was never the reason why you came to the earth. You thought you are here to do, because we say it is a karma bhumi, everybody must engage in karma, nobody can escape karma. Yes, but you don't desire for anything in doing. What comes your way by virtue of your destiny, you just accept it and play your part, play along. Last time also I said, just play along. Whatever is coming your way, you don't specially desire for it. It should be natural, spontaneous, effortless. In doing, you shouldn't feel the burden. So if once doership is there, because you have ego identity, that is when all the burden comes. I am doing, because of me it is happening. If I am not there, this won't happen. Such ideas do not exist in the Jnani. He gives up these ideas. Nirveda. He becomes dispassionate, detached. So he might still be engaged in action, but is absolutely detached from the action. That is the way of the Jnani, and he is not those who have taken upon themselves huge responsibilities and think that because of them everything happens and without them nothing will happen. That kind of vratis, they are not such adamant, stubborn people. They are free, they are free flowing. This has to happen, it will happen. God has given me this task, I will execute it as best of my ability and be done with it and deposit at the feet of God. I don't carry anything with me after that. That understanding should be there in while you work in the world, because he knows that you cannot avoid work in the world. But what kind of work? Krita akrita, doing and desiring both should not be the reason why you are here doing anything. So, how the world was created is a beautiful shloka. I thought I will cross reference it is. From Mundaka Upanishad, the shloka comes. When desiring and doing is the part of the world, has God not desired? God desired that the world should happen, and then He created the world. That is what all scriptures say. They say God was alone, nobody knew Him. Then God thought, I must create somebody somewhere who knows me, that I also exist. And Bhagavan used to always say, I separated myself from myself to love myself. That was God's idea. That God separated Himself from Himself so that He can love Himself. Like we go and look ourselves in the mirror and we adore and admire ourselves. We love to admire ourselves. Everybody loves to admire themselves because they see their reflection, they feel good about it. When I was in New York, there was a tall hotel. It had many floors. I do not know how many. And this was an old hotel. It has an old lift, a very, I don't know, Victorian era kind of a lift. Very slow. It was so slow that you thought you could climb the steps and reach the floor better. But then we were told to get into the lift and we pressed the button and it's going on and on. It's forever. In that lift, they had put a mirror. So I asked the host, why have they put mirror inside the lift? The reply was, because the lift is so slow that people don't know what to do with themselves till it reaches the floor. So they look at themselves in the mirror and they are lost. They don't realize how much time it has taken. That is the strategy of the hotel. Because we love to see ourselves. In a group photo also, the moment I say, which is the first person you see, you will somehow find out where you are in the group photo. Because you always want to see yourself. That is the nature of God also. God wants to see itself in everything, reflection of itself. So we are all reflections of God is what we know. So God created this world too. He also has a desire to see Himself in everyone, everything. Because He enjoys seeing Himself and enjoys being loved. The only purpose of creation is to love and be loved. That's all. God decided to love and got loved in return. When people forget to love God back, that is when He becomes an avatar, comes and reminds us that our true purpose is to love God and everything else is later. That is why avatars happen. What is dharma? Our dharma is to be devoted to God. That is all it is. Everything else is secondary. So every time we forget to do our part in the creation, which is to love God back, God takes an avatar or form, a guru, or in some way He appears and reminds us that our responsibility, the primary duty was to love God. So how did God create? When He also created, He should have had a desire. So it says, for God there was no doing. It is spontaneous for Him. How it is spontaneous? It says, yathornanabhi sujate grinate cha यथा पृथिव्याम ओषधयः संभवन्ति यथा सतः पुरुषात् केशलोमानि तथा अक्षरात् संभवति हि विश्वम. Very beautiful analogy. The Mundagopanishad this is, which says, yatha urnanabi, like the spider weaves its web from its own stomach. It does not bring the material from somewhere else. It just spits it out and makes the web, lives in it. We must watch a spider making its web. It's very fascinating. But those webs, now how beautifully they weave the web. It's a magic. It's a fascinating phenomena. And what does the spider do? It spontaneously keeps bringing out the thread from its stomach, weaves the web, and once it is done with it, it lives in it, it swallows it all back. It is not an effort, it does it so spontaneously, so perfectly. It has no measuring scales, it has no CAD drawings, it is no engineering and architectural drawings. It is all inside that spider, its intelligence. And the material with which it creates also is inside it. And when everything is done, it takes back everything. Like that, God creates the world and swallows it back. God creates the world, lives in it, and finally merges it back in Himself. Other thing it says that the other example, yatha prithivya oshadhaya sambhavanti. Like the vegetation happens spontaneously from earth. You cut the grass, next day again the grass grows. On its own, as if by some magic. Nobody sowed the seeds there. Nobody went and watered it. Nobody took care of it. On its own, like the vegetation grows out of earth, on its own. Like that, the world comes out on its own from divinity. Third exam says, Yatha Purushat Keshalomani. Like the hair grows out of our skin on its own. You cut the hair, it grows back. You shave the hair, it grows back. It keeps going back and back and back on its own. No efforts needed there. Tatha aksharat sambhavati vishwam. Like that, from the akshara, the indestructible divine, Vishwa, this destructible world has come into existence. The substratum, the basis is that divinity. And what did God do? How did God create the world? Spontaneously, effortlessly. There was no planning and deciding and then working and then getting frustrated, it's not working out, and then getting angry and getting excited. None of these dualities existed in His creation. It was just a spontaneous expression of His existence. So our life should become spontaneous and effortless. This desiring and doing makes it burdensome. It removes the effortlessness and makes it a big burden and effort. I am doing, because of me it is happening. And if it is not achieved, then we are sad and miserable. We end up in the dvandvas of the past. Those dvandvas you remember? In the last chapter it told 6 of these things, 3 pairs as Narasimhji said. When we desire and it doesn't happen, then what happened? Vanchati has happened, desire. If it doesn't get achieved, then shochati, I am sad. Then munchati, what I don't like, I want to get rid of. What I like, I want it. So he says, grihnati and munchati happens. And then in doing, what else is happening? He says, hrishyati, when success happens, you are excited. Kupyati, when you don't succeed, you get angry. So these duality, that's why the second word he uses, krita kritecha dvandvani. Both doing and desiring and dvandvas which come with it. Once you desire and do, all these positive negatives will come. All these kada shantani kasyava. For the peaceful one, where does it exist? How can it exist? It doesn't engage in this doing and desiring. So these outcomes of dualities don't exist for such a person. Knowing this very well, that is the nature of the freedom of the self. Nirvedat bhava, become dispassionate. Don't get too entangled, desirous and engaged in the world. Just as much as it is needed. And tyagaparo, become the person who has detachment and avrati, and do not be adamant, do not be persistent, do not be stubborn about achieving and desiring and doing and desiring. This need not be. That is the way of the jnani, he says. But if you do not do that, then you are going to continuously swing between the dualities and you will never have peace. All the time your peace will be destroyed. So this is how the doing and desiring, the cause and the effect, makes people continuously work in the world. They can't sit quiet. In fact, at some point Ashtavakra says, even those who think they are not working, they are also working because they are bound by their ego identity. So even if they are opening and closing their eyes, that is also counted as work for them. Because they have ego. They have this identity that I am the body. So because of the body, anything body does becomes work. In your closing and opening of the eyes, I don't know how many bacteria get killed or they are born. Everything becomes your work. You think you are not working, but you are working. Because you have the ahankara. You have the idea of I am this body. So that was the idea that was being conveyed over here, that all the time we are becoming engaged in the action because of the desire that drives us to do that. And so you would say, how can somebody live in this world without any desire? Now, if I have to go to office and achieve something, that's a work. That is a desire to achieve it well. I must deliver tomorrow. If I don't deliver well, you only will scold me. What I'm saying is that you don't do it out of your individual desire. You do it as a part of your duty, what is given to you to do. So tomorrow, if you are shifted and you are asked to do something else, you have no problem. No, I'm in this department. I am supposed to do this only. I was born to do this. When there is need for somewhere else, you go there and do that. You have no problem with that. Why? Because you are not here to desire and do. That is not the purpose. You are here to realize the peace of the self. And that peace is realized only if you grow out of this doing and desiring and the idea of duality. So become dispassionate is what he's saying. If you don't become dispassionate, then what happens? God will find ways to make you dispassionate at some point in time. The second shloka 9.2, it says, 43 page, Kasyapi tata dhanyasya loka cheshtavalokanath jivitecha bubhuksha cha bubhutsopashamamam gataah. Nice shloka. It says, Kasyapi tata. Tata means oh little child. He is still treating Janaka as a little child because he is a guru. For guru, everybody is a child only. Even if you are older than the guru, you are still a child for a guru. So he says, Kasyapi tat. Very lovingly he calls him. How? Dhanasya. Here it is an O father, but it is not O father, okay? Here talking like a son only. He says, Asyapi tat dhanyasya loka cheshtavalokanat. The dhanya, the one who has found fulfillment. Loka cheshta avalokanad. Loka cheshta. Seeing the desires of the world, the people who are running after this world, the activities of the world, he has avalokanat. He has observed it carefully. What is the reason why people are running behind things? What is the reason that people are driven to do actions? What is the cause of all that action that is going on? He carefully analyzes that. Avalokanat. And then what? Jivitecha bubuksha. He said Jivitecha, his desire to live long and forever and enjoy the world and do this and achieve that, that goes away. That hunger for it. Bubuksha is hunger for the worldly enjoyments by living as long as possible. That goes away. And what happens? Bubutso pashamam gata. Bubutsa means curiosity for things in the world. You get excited about every new thing and you want to know things and you want to achieve things. This curiosity also stops. And upashamam means it becomes, stops or ceases to be gataha, having reached that stage. What is the meaning of the shloka? It says, for the one who is the redeemed one, dhanya, who is fulfilled in life, who has realized the self, how can there be any desire for the worldly things? When he observes it carefully, he realizes there is no point in running behind this because we have already learned all this world is a dream. In a dream, you might have a palace that you live in, but you cannot really have it in when you wake up. It is only temporary, it is only a illusion. That is what we know of. So he says that after having carefully observed the activities of the world and what they lead to only dualities. Either you become happy at the end of the activity or you become sad at the end of the activity. Either you become successful or you become a failure. Either you get excited or you get dejected. This is what we are trying to avoid because that is not the nature of the self. So such a person carefully observes any activity leads to duality only. And he becomes free from desiring for things. And even the idea that I want to enjoy this world, that also goes off. Jivitecha, bubuksha also goes away. And bubutsa, that curiosity behind, I want to go there, see that, meet those people, learn that, be here, do that, all these kinds of ideas also goes away in such a person. Now, sounds a very, very sadistic kind of a shloka, like, oh, you are in the world and you don't want to do anything, you don't want to desire for anything, you don't care about your achievements, you don't have any curiosity left in you, you don't have any desire for anything. What kind of life that is? As a journalist went to a man who lived over 100 years and asked, what is the secret of your long life? He said, I do not smoke, I do not drink, I do not eat non-vegetarian food, I have never engaged with any women, and I have always lived a very sattvic life. I don't watch TV, I don't go do this. Then the journalist said, why do you live? What's the point in living for this long when you don't enjoy anything at all? So the world looks like that. But the Jnani says, I am happy because I am free. I don't swing between dualities. Many people say, Swami, I want only happiness, I don't want any sorrow in the world. I say it doesn't work like that. It is a tied sale. It is a deal, package deal, that you will get both together. If you want only sugar, no salt, that's not going to work. It comes in a package. Someday it will be happy day, someday it will be sad day. You cannot have. Then what is the way out of it? I said reject both. Reject both. I don't want sadness. It's okay. I also don't want happiness. Just let me be at peace. I don't want to swing between the two. No, no, we want happiness. We don't want the sadness. Not possible. If today you get happiness, tomorrow you are bound to get sadness. That is the way of the world. You cannot wish it away. The only other option is reject both. So it's binary, either or. You either get both or you don't get either. So you cannot choose one over the other. That is the problem with most of the people. They want the good things, they want to avoid all the difficulties. But both will come together. The rose and the thorn are together. If you want to go and take the rose, thorn also will come along with it. That is the way of the world. Unfortunately, fools think no, they can somehow outsmart the ways of the world and only be happy and avoid all the sorrow and sadness. Not possible. Not possible. So the other way is what? Avoid both. Avoid both means, oh, then I'm never going to be happy. No, but you're also never going to be sad. Remember that too. Then what is the kind of life I'll be living? A peaceful, steady, equanimous state of existence. How boring people will think. And if you think it's boring. But then the next time you have difficulty, you come crying to me, I'm going to remind you the same. Then you wanted an interesting life. You have it. One day sad, one day happy, one day success, one day failure, one day, friends, other day enemies. Go on with it. Round and round you go. If you don't want, then avoid both. That is also perfectly okay. So Jnani says, I'll avoid both. I don't want both. It's okay if I don't have those excitements in life, but I also know that I won't have those depressions and anxieties also. So I'm okay with this. So that is how Jnanis live, very peaceful, free from all these fluctuations. And this desire to live on in this body is also not there. Now, how much people spend on just trying to extend their lives, trying to look good, trying to beautify themselves. How much money? They want to somehow go on living. And their desires are never done. How much ever they try to fulfill the desire, some new desire arises. They want to live a little longer. First, I want to marry and have children. After my children should get married, they should have children. After that, I should die after seeing my grandchildren's grandchildren. It's never done. It never happens. Why? Because not possible. Desires will keep coming. Once you see grandchildren, you will have desire for great-grandchildren. Great-grandchildren, you will see one more generation if I can see. So it is unending. So this idea to go on living and enjoying and feeding your senses and somehow enjoying as much pleasure as possible, that's a wrong idea. That's a wrong idea. They don't exist. And also this idle curiosity. What is there in that country? Let me go and see. What is that that person is doing? What is happening in his house? What is happening with his wife? What are his children doing? Unnecessary curiosity. It's because our mind is like that. Curiosity is there. So this ideal curiosity also disappears from the mind of such a person. Because most of the world spends time on idle curiosity, wasteful conversations. So much energy and time is spent. Because they have nothing higher to think about. So they are dwelling in the lower realms. Somebody said, cheap people discuss people. Ordinary people discuss events. But great people discuss ideas. So cheap people will only discuss people. Uske ghar mein kya hua, iske ghar mein kya hua, who is fighting with whom, who is against whom. Their whole life goes in that. Because they have nothing greater to achieve. They're only interested in gossips. The mediocre people, they will at least discuss incidents. Achha, that happened and this was the result. That happened, that was the result. Something better than just discussing people behind their backs. But the great minds, they think ideas. They discuss ideas. How can we improve things? How can we make things better? What else can be done? That is what excites those great minds. So it depends on what kind of minds we have. We accordingly engage in activities. For such a person, this idle curiosity of the world disappears. He says, what is there to be curious about? We heard, right, that the world is like a snake appearing in a rope. Rajju Sarpan Nyaya, it is said. In the dark, you're walking, you see a rope, and then you suddenly see, oh, it is a snake, you think. And then you get scared. Then you go investigate, you finally realize, no, it is only a rope, it is not a snake. Now, somebody who is idly curious, what will he do? No, there was a snake. Let us find out what was the species of the snake. What was the color of the skin? Which direction it left from here? Has it gone to boys' hostel or girls' hostel? What is the point? There is never a snake. What is this curiosity for? What are you investigating? Investigating something that does not exist. It's like ghosts. You're investigating a ghost. It doesn't exist. Like that, this world, which first of all is temporary, illusory, and non-existent. What is this curiosity all about? Who is earning how much they are making, how much? Why unnecessary waste that time? That time you spend on vichara. Who am I? Who am I? Ramana Maharshi would say, instead of that idle curiosity and wasteful gossip, rather spend the time in Atma Vichara, in self-enquiry. At least it will lead you to something good. Or if nothing, at least think of good ideas which will change the world, which will make things better. Why discuss people and places and events and lower ideas? So that is the idea that he's saying, the idea to go on living and enjoying also goes away. No, but it does not come easily. You have to go through the life and go through the ups and downs. Then finally you develop this kind of detachment. Doesn't come on its own easily. There is a shloka again from Mundakopanishad which says, when does man turn towards God after having experienced the world only? After having experienced and realizing nothing of this world is permanent, that's when he turns to God. It says, Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitan. It's there on 44 page, next page. But it's from Mundakopanishad, just a cross reference. Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitan Brahmano Nirveda Mayat Nasti Akrita Kritena Tadvijnanartam Sa Gurumevabi Gachet Samitpani Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Who goes to the Guru to learn about the greatness of the self? Only a person who has done all the investigation, Pariksha Lokan Karma Chitan, after observing all his activities, whatever he has achieved since childhood till now, he become Nirveda. The same word. Nirveda means he become dispassionate. Why? Na asti akrita kritena. That which cannot be done is not possible to achieve it by doing. It means God cannot be achieved by all the actions of the world. How much ever money you make, you can't go and buy God with that money. He won't come. How much ever powerful you are, you can't force God to appear with all your power and influence. How many ever big family or progeny you have, you cannot force God to be a part of you. God is beyond all the doing. That is what he's saying. This idea that we can achieve God through the actions of the world is not true. So this man, Brahmana, who is seeking God, he becomes nirveda, he becomes dispassionate because he realizes by doing all that we are doing, we are not achieving God at all. We are only fooling ourselves, keeping ourselves busy, swinging like a pendulum between the sadness and happiness and success and failures. We are reaching nowhere. He figures this out. Once that realization dawns, after he has carefully observed all the activities of the world, to know the self, he goes to the Guru. And how does he go? Samit Panihi, with dry wood in his hand. It's called Samit, with which they light the fire and they can perform yajnas and homas. So all gurus used to perform homas all the time. So anybody who met a guru would carry a little bit of dry woods or dry sticks so that it will help the guru continue his homa. But the inner significance is that he will carry a dry mind without any attachment and desires. Tyagapara he becomes. Avrati he becomes. Who? The one who has realized that all the activities of the world are not leading him finally to the self. It is only making him swing from right to left every day. But it is not taking him to the ultimate state of peace and satisfaction which comes only from the self. So he goes. And what kind of guru should be? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He should be a learned one. And Brahmanishta, established in the Brahman, in the self, in God. Such a person you should approach. How? With dry wood. If you come with wet wood, it won't catch fire. It will only create smoke. Likewise, if your mind is still desirous of the world and you reach a guru and ask guru for wisdom, even if guru teaches the wisdom, nothing will go inside your head. It will sound like, what nonsense, such a boring lecture where I should be doing something else. I could have done something else and earned a little more. That idea will come only to those people who are not ready for it. So that readiness of the person comes by first carefully observing what is the result of all that I am doing. Is it really leading me to the ultimate happiness? Or am I swinging between happiness and sorrow every day? Once you realize that, you say, I don't want anymore to swing like a pendulum. I want peace. Then you turn to Guru without any more desires in your mind, dry mind. And the Guru, who is the knower of the self, learned in the scriptures, such a person ultimately teaches you. So that is what he is saying. Loka, he says, Avalokanad, after carefully observing the world and the activities and their nature, that they only lead to duality and not the ultimate state of peace, give up the desire for things. Even the desire to live long and enjoy life, somehow enjoy all the senses. Remember in Kathopanishad, the little Nachiketa goes to Yama because his father tells him, go, you are cursed, you die and go to Yama. So he goes. And there he wants the secret of birth and death. He goes after Yama, tell me what happens after death. Nobody knows. Even gods are confused about it. Nobody tells me the right answer. I want to know from you because you are there at the time of death. So you must be knowing the answer. You are the best person to tell me. And there Yama tries to avoid him by telling, why do you want to know? Because it's a secret he doesn't want to give away. Because if people realize that secret of birth and death, then what will Yama do? People will overcome that fear of death and they will become immortal. So he is not telling the truth. But he tests Nachiketa. Nice two shlokas I have there written on 46 and 47 page, which are from Kathopanishad. Again, it's a cross reference. On 46 page, Yama is tempting Nachiketa. What is he saying? Shatayusha putra pautran vrinishva bahun pashun hastin hiranyamashwan bhumer mahadayatanam vrinishva swayam cha jiva sharado yavadichhasi. Yamadharmaraja is telling the little Nachiketa, Shatayushaha, ask for 100 years of life. On Putra Pautran Vrinishva. And desire, ask me for Putra, means sons, Pautra, means grandsons. Ask as many. Bahun, Pashun, as many cattle that you want. Hasti means elephant. Hiranya, Ashwan, gold, and Ashwa means gold horses. So ask for anything, cattle, elephants, gold, horses, whatever you want, sons, grandsons, and 100 years of life. Bhumer Mahadayatanam Vrinishva. And as much land as you want to enjoy, rule. Ask that also. Even if this is not satisfying you, Swayam cha jiva sharado yavadichasi. And your own life, as many winters as you want to enjoy. Ask me. I will give you all this, but don't ask me the secret behind birth and death. He's tempting. If anybody else who was a fool will jump at it saying that, thank you, can I have these many children, grandchildren, can I have this much gold wealth, can I have these many elephants and horses in those days. Today's time, this much of land, this much of other wealth, people can ask. And as much as you want, you ask. I am not even limiting it, Yama says. I'll give you as much as you want, but don't ask me the secrets. And then what does he say? Nachiketa, hardly, maybe 11 years old or something, he replies, Shobhava martyasya yadanta kaitat sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha api sarvam jivitam alpameva tavaiva vahas tavna nritya gite. He says, oh Lord of death, don't you try to fool me. Shobhava, I have doubts about what can exist tomorrow. What is today, but tomorrow we do not know, it's uncertain. I have my own doubts, they are all fleeting. Yadanta kaitat martyasya, all these that you are talking about, at the end of it, you are going to be there, catching me by neck, because I am going to die after 1,000 years, maybe after 10,000 years, maybe after 1,000,000 years, but at the end I am going to die and you are going to catch me again. And whatever happens, all these that you are giving, what will it do to me? Sarvendriyanam jarayanti teja. All the vitality from my senses will be drained. Because I am always enjoying some sense pleasure, my vitality will go away. I will become a useless person. I do not want that. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva, and any which ways, whatever life is there, all life has to come to an end, that I know. If not in 10 years or 100 years, 1,000 years or 10,000 years. It is going to end, I know it very well. Therefore, tavaiva vahas tavanritya gite. So all this dance and music that you are promising me, keep it to yourself. Tell me the truth. That is what Nachiketa says. Because he is a jnani, he is wanting jnana. He is not an ordinary idle curiosity is not there. He is really somebody who wants to know the truth, jignasu. So he says, you tell me the truth, don't tempt me with these worldly things, because I know even if I enjoy for 10,000 years, after that again I have to come to you. And you will grab me by my collar and then you will take me to wherever you want. This is not going to be permanent. It is temporary only. What will I do with all temporary things? I want the permanence. I want the self. I want the truth. So that is how a jnani should argue. A jnani will say, give me another 100 years, give me another 100 years, give me another 100 years. There is no end to it. There is no end to it because we are never done. So that is the idea that is being conveyed in this, that such a jnani will carefully observe that before me also there were kings, after me also there will be kings. They also enjoyed wealth, wine, women. Others will also enjoy wealth, wine, women. After that also I will go into die. They also died at the end. In the future also people will die. I am also going to die. What is the big deal? Tell me the truth. That kind of clarity should be there, that actions do not lead us to the self. Actions bind us. So teach me something that will take me across. The next sloka is 9.3 on page number 49, which says, Anityam sarvamevedam tapat tritaya dushitam asaram ninditam heyam iti nischitya shamyati. Anityam, all these that we see in the world is temporary only, Anityam. Whoever claims that I will be here forever is only lying. Nobody could live forever. They are always going to end at some point in time, whatever your pleasures and pain. That's why I tell people the world is temporary, nothing stays. Anityam is its nature. Good thing is that the sorrow also does not stay long. It will also end at some point in time. Joy also would not stay for long. They will keep repeating. Bhagavan used to say, a pleasure is an interval between two pains. That's all it is. You have a little pleasure, then pain will follow. That is the way of life. You cannot avoid it. So anityam sarvam evedam. Everything is anityam. Know that. And also it is contaminated by three types of pains. Tapatraya. Three kinds of miseries. Is all these things of the world contain. What are the three miseries? Our scriptures say there is Adi Bhautika, Adi Laukika and Adi Atmika. These are three tapatrayas, three pains, that miseries that humans suffer. Adi Bhautika is because of his surroundings, the physical elements, people around him, the situations around him, he suffers. Adi Laukika is because of the gods, they say, like the natural disasters or our karmas of the past, which gods come and deliver it to us, then we suffer those. We have displeased gods by our actions, then gods punish us. So that is the other pain that we undergo, Adi Daivika. And Adhyatmika, something which emerges from within, Adhyatmika pains. Like our mind itself becomes very painful and miserable at times. And that troubles us. Today mental illness is a known thing. I am told 1 in 7 person is going through some mental issue. That is the kind of pandemic proportions mental illness taken. That is Adhyatmika problems. It comes from within. Why? Because you had a desire for something, it never got fulfilled, now you are miserable. You loved somebody, they dumped you, now you are miserable. You wanted to achieve something, it did not happen, now you are miserable. If nothing else is there, the anxiety of wanting to do and not being able to do is misery. Something or the other will always push us to be miserable. That's why Shri Krishna says, Anityam Asukam Lokam. This asukha is there. In this world, there is no real happiness and no permanence. Temporariness and unhappiness is the nature of this world. Imam prapya bhajaswam. Having ended up in this world of this nature, you remember me and worship me so that you are redeemed. Bhagavan used to give an example. Where suppose you, in old times, in towns we'll have military hotel, they will say. These military messes were basically all non-vegetarian hotels. So outside board will be there, military hotel. Now military hotels were mainly non-vegetarian hotels. Now some Brahmin says, I want idli, dosa, vada, sambar. The person in the hotel will tell, sir, go out, read the board. This is military hotel, only non-veg, no vegetarian here. Don't ask. So he says, outside our world, there is a big board, Anityam Asukam Lokam. This is a temporary and a miserable place. You enter at your own risk. If you're entering and asking for where is happiness, where is permanence, no, you're not going to get. What will the world tell you? Go read the board outside. And the board says, Anityam Asukam Lokam, temporary, miserable world. When it is saying that, then how can you ask something different from that? That was the idea. He's telling Anityam Sarvamevedam and Tapatritaya Dushitam. 3 types of miseries we are always undergoing. Because of the people around us, because of the gods, and because of our own selves. We are miserable. That's why we chant Shanti 3 times. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So that we are peaceful in all the three ways. So Tapatritaya Dushitam and Asaram. It is essenceless. Actually senseless. Is a nonsense. Why? Because nothing is permanent. Then why should I run behind it? I run, and achieve it. Finally it disappears. I am miserable again. So why should I run behind mirages? A mirage is an essenceless thing, right? Somebody who is thirsty in the desert sees a mirage that there is an oasis and there is water and all that, and runs towards it all with all his might, and only to discover that it was just an illusion. There was no water. How will be his state of mind? He'll say, what a useless thing it was. Asaram, useless. Nonsense. This is the nature of the world. The Jnani realizes. So he says, know that it is asaram. Ninditam. It is full of faults. It is full of wrongs. See how much wrongdoing happened in the world. for the sake of a little money, for the sake of achieving some little more success. How many people cut how many corners? All the time, ninditam, it is polluted, it is contaminated, it is full of mistakes or wrongdoings. That is the nature of the world. Nobody who comes to the world can remain pure if he gets entangled in the world. As I said, if you enter a room full of charcoal or something, how much ever smart you might be, some bit of charcoal will rub onto you. Like that, the one who enters the world will definitely get entangled in it. How much ever one tries to remain pure, little bit of dirt will always attach to the person. That's why काजल की कोठरी में कितनो ही सयान हो जाए, एक लीक पे लागी है तो लागी है, it says. In the coterie, in the room full of kajal, anybody goes, dark soot is there. How much ever you try, it is full of soot. When you enter and come out, it will stick to you. So the world's nature is like that. It is polluted, it is contaminated, it is faulty, it is impermanent, it is miserable, it has no sense. So heyamiti nishchitya shamyati, heyamiti. So discard it. Nishchitya, become completely confident, convinced, nishchitya shamyati, and become peaceful. Unless you are completely convinced that this is the nature of the world, you will still be desiring for it. No, this time I failed, this time that fellow ditched me, this time I did not succeed, next time I will definitely achieve it. Because you are not fully convinced that no, this world will not give you permanent happiness. This world will not give you anything that is really true and peaceful and beautiful. It will only tempt you. And you will enter that and get into trouble. But if you are convinced only, you will stop desiring for it. If you are not fully convinced, you think there is a possibility that this time I was unlucky, things didn't turn out my way, next time I will get lucky and enjoy the world. Then you are fooling yourself. You are fooling yourself. That's why he said nishchitya, with conviction, with firmness, with determination, you realize shamyati. Then you will become peaceful again. You want to be peaceful. And the Shankaracharya, the story is there when a king and wife did not have children, so they desired for children. So the king married again. Second wife got a child after much prayers. But the child was granted by the Guru with this grace, saying it is going to have a short life. Father king says, no problem, at least I'll have a son. Let me have a son. So he has a son, the child is born. But after birth, the other queen, the first queen, gets very jealous of the second queen and poisons the child, and the child dies. Then the child dies. The second queen and the king are miserable. So they keep crying. At that time, Narada Muni is going from there. He asks, why are you crying? He says, my child who was born died. But he was supposed to die early, right? Yes, but we cannot live without the child. Please do something, this and that. Then Narada calls the soul back of that child, saying, come and enter this body. Your parents are crying. The soul says, which parents? He says, this king and that queen. He said, oh, they were parents for this birth. I had so many parents in so many lifetimes. Which all parents should I go and satisfy? This doesn't make sense to me. Kastvam koyam kutamāyātah kāme janani ko me tātah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Sri Adi Shankaracharya says, who are you, who am I, who is mother, who is father? So many lifetimes, so many mothers, fathers, I and you have come and gone. Iti paribhavaya, completely analyze this, thoroughly analyze this, that sarvamasaram, all this is nonsense. And Vishwam Tyakta. Therefore, give up this pursuit of the world like you will give up the pursuit of a dream. In dream, you become a very rich man. When you wake up, you are still the beggar that you were before sleeping. You can't wake up and start behaving like a rich man. It doesn't apply to you because the dream was dream. Likewise, all the relationships, ye, wo, dunya bhar ka, we run behind. At the end, it's senseless because in this lifetime, they are these relations. In the next lifetime, who will be yours? Who will be father? Who will be mother? Who knows? There is a story, just for interesting. There was a king of Ujjain called Bhartrihari. Ujjain is in Madhya Pradesh. Mahakal's temple is there. It's one of those Shiva Kshetras. So this king Bhartrihari had a wife, Pingala, who was very beautiful and he was very fond of her, smitten by her beauty, always thinking of her. And he also had a brother called Vikramaditya, younger brother. And Vikramaditya noticed that this king is losing his sense of duty towards the kingdom, always busy with his wife, so infatuated with her beauty. And also Vikramaditya warned the king that your wife is not honest, she is not loyal to you, she is cheating on you. But this man is so blinded in her love that cannot see the difference between that. So inside he kicks his brother out, Vikramaditya. You are unnecessarily commenting on my wife, get out. So he sends him to exile. And then he is living with his wife. The Guru Gorakhnath, who is their Guru, he sees This Bhartrihari has gone mad. He has lost his senses and discrimination. I must set him right, otherwise kingdom will be ruined. And seeing the future, what is ahead, he creates a phala, a fruit, which is Amruta phala. It will lead you to immortality. If you eat it, you are not going to die. So the Gorakhnath Guruji comes and gives the Bhartrihari king this particular fruit and says, enjoy it. If you eat it, you will never die. You will live very long. King should have eaten, because if king lives long, he will take care of the kingdom. But instead he thinks, if my wife lives long, then I can enjoy my wife for a longer period of time. So he gives the fruit to the wife, saying that you eat it so that you will remain young and beautiful, and I can enjoy you for as many years as I want. The wife takes the fruit and thinks, I don't want to eat this fruit. Already this king is terrible. If I eat this fruit, I will stay here forever and have to deal with this king. I have to bear him for the rest of my life. I don't want this. So she takes the fruit, but she goes and gives it to her boyfriend, Senapati, the commander-in-chief of the army, saying that you eat it so that you remain young and I can enjoy you. Because she was cheating on the king. Now this commander-in-chief also was in love with the maid-servant. So this commander-in-chief goes and gives the fruit to the maid-servant. Maid-servant is the only person with some buddhi. She looks at the fruit, thinks, this commander just uses me for my body. He really does not love me. He wants to only use my body as long as I am young. And if I eat this fruit, I will remain young for long. I have to go through this misery every day. I rather give it to the king. If king lives long, then he will take care of the kingdom. So she comes to the king and gives the fruit. The king is shocked. How did this fruit come to you? Then she tells, this was given by the commander-in-chief. Then he finds the commander-in-chief received it from his own wife. And then he's crestfallen. He's crestfallen. He says, so much of love I had for my wife. I gave this fruit to her. And look at this. She cheated me. She gave it to the commander. Commander gave it to the servant, maid servant. She is giving it back to me. So he gets very fed up. He calls his brother Vikramaditya and tells, you take this fruit. You run the kingdom. I am taking sannyasa, because he's so crestfallen and detached. That relationships are like that. And then he gives up. He says, asara, anityam. The joy was temporary. Asaram. There was no essence. There is no real purpose of these relationships. He realizes that people are with you as long as you are useful to them. This world is like that. So if you think that somebody is really yours in this world, you are fooling yourself. Because when the real test of whatever comes, time comes, people will leave you when you are not useful to them anymore. So attaching yourself to ideas like my son, my wife, my brother, my uncle, my father, these are temporary. When the real test comes, nobody stays with you. Now don't go by the Bollywood movies, okay? Those are just wishful thinking. In real life, all those things don't happen. That people die for each other's sake, and that all these things don't happen. This is all foolishness. So don't fall into that. There's a nice song of Manna Day. My father used to keep listening to these songs, so because of my childhood growing between all these old Bollywood songs, I thought I will let you know. The lyrics are so beautiful. It says, सुख में तेरे साथ रहेंगे, दुख में सब मुंह मोड़ेंगे, दुनिया वाले तेरा बनकर तेरा ही दिल तोड़ेंगे, देते हैं भगवान को धोखा, इंसान को क्या छोड़ेंगे, कसमें वादे प्यार वफा सब बातें हैं बातों का क्या, कोई किसी का नहीं है झूठे नाते हैं नातों का क्या. This is what it is. It's a beautiful song, those who want it. सुख में तेरे साथ रहेंगे, दुख में सब मुंह मोड़ेंगे, दुनिया वाले तेरा बनकर तेरा ही दिल तोड़ेंगे, देते हैं भगवान को धोखा, इंसान को क्या छोड़ेंगे, कसमें वादे प्यार वफा सब बातें हैं बातों का क्या. So don't get stuck. Don't get stuck with these relationships. They are only temporary. How much ever you think people love you for whatever you are, when the testing times come, you know grain from the chaff. Nobody is going to sacrifice themselves for your sake. The 9.4, the shloka number 9.4, it's on page number 54. It says, Ko asau kalo vayah kim va yatra dandvani no nrunam tanyupeksha yatha praptavarti siddhi mavapnuyat. He says, Ko asau kalo vayaha. What is the time and age for whom Kim va yatra dandvani nonranam, when the duality does not exist for the humans. Even as you are in the deathbed also, you are wanting to enjoy the world, enjoying a little more than what you can. The desire to enjoy the world and being stuck in the dvandva, the duality of the world. When is the time and what is the age when it does not exist? It exists at all times and all the age of the humans for the ignorant people. Even on deathbed, there are desires of things. And tan upeksha, therefore discard it, give it up, disgust and disregard, yatha praptavanti, and whatever comes without wanting to seek it, whatever comes by virtue of your destiny, siddhi mavapnuyat, attain that and attain siddhi. Reach that and attain siddhi means attain perfection in your life. Right now our life is all, as I said, stuck in duality, avoiding sorrows and enjoying pleasures. Even at old age, we think that, okay, these are all things of the young people. They are in that, heat of the moment. They want to enjoy all these things, the worldly pleasures. No. Even when people become old also, their desires are not done. Their body is incapable of eating anymore or doing anything anymore. But mind is still desirous. It is still hungry for things. The desires have not done. Bhartrihari only, the one king I talked about, he, after going through whatever he goes through, he becomes a viragi, means he becomes a sannyasi, goes away to Himalayas, and he has written a text called Vairagya Shatakam, 100 shlokas on Vairagya, on detachment and dispassion. I hope that you will get to read that sometime. It's beautiful. One shloka from there I do remember is, he says, Bhogana bhukta vayameva bhukta. Bhogas means all the enjoyments of the world are never done, we are done. We die trying to enjoy this, enjoy that. How many people, doctors tell them, don't drink, your liver is in terrible shape. They can't give up drinking. They will die, but they will not stop drinking. How many people we see here, addicts, alcoholics. How many times we tell, don't do any more of this because you will get into trouble. Your lungs are damaged, your kidney, liver are damaged. They don't listen. Few days they follow and then again tempted by that. So bhogana bhukta. Enjoyments are never done, but we are done. We finish ourselves, we destroy ourselves. Tapona taptam vayameva taptaha. We do not do sacrifices, but we get sacrificed in the process. We do not do any austerities, but we get consumed in the process. Why? Because we are not capable of restraining our senses. The senses eat us up. Senses destroy us eventually. Kalo na yato vayameva yataha. Time is not spent, we are spent. We think we are spending time, but time is spending us. We think we are whiling away time. No, time is whiling away us. That is what is happening. Every moment, Bhagavan used to say, life is like an ice cube. It's melting away. Every moment it's melting away. That is how time is eating us. We are going into the mouth of Kala, that's what Krishna says. We are getting inside the Kala's mouth and he's crushing us with his terrible teeth. And we are stuck between his teeth. That's what he describes in the Vishwarupa Darshana. How people are automatically as if sucked into Krishna's mouth, the big Kala's mouth, and crushed between his teeth into powder, churna, he says. That is how all the yodhas are going in his mouth. The Kala is eating us all. Time is eating us. We are not eating time. We are not wasting time. Time is wasting us. So we are basically unaware of it, go on living like a fool and says, Trishna na jirna, vayameva jirna. Our desires are never done. We become old, but our desires never become old. They are always afresh and new. Even the 100-year-old man you tell, do you want one more, this much opportunity to make a little more money? Of course, yes, he will say. They are not done. They are not done. That is the idea. That whatever said and done, the desires are so strong and so powerful. And the Agyani who does not see the nonsense, the senselessness of everything, goes on pursuing it, goes on chasing it, these desires, like chasing the mirage, and never gets it. But he thinks he is getting it, like the dog chewing the dry bone and bleeding and sucking its own blood and thinking the blood is coming from the bone. It suffers and dies. Likewise, this world is made like that. So you can't blame that why world is made like that. This is how it is. Knowing its nature, anityam asukam lukam, even prapti basis. For having ended up in the world like this, you rather remember me and redeem yourself, says Sri Krishna. So our scriptures are the guiding light. guideposts to tell us all the time how to behave in the world. That's why Bhagavan will always say, the boat should be in the water. Water should not be inside the boat. Man should be in the world. World should not be inside man. That clarity one should have. We are not here to enjoy the world. We are here to use the world to reach God. Like a stepping stone, like a boat to cross over. We are not here to stay in the boat forever. We are here to just cross the river and give up the boat. So through world only we are reaching God. In the world, when we live, we must live in such a way that we are not entangled or we are not getting stuck in the world. Because once you get stuck, it's very difficult to relieve yourself from this Maya, because it's like, as I mentioned, it is like the quicksand. How much ever you try, that much you go inside. You cannot come out of it. And who pulls you into it? All these ideas of I and mine. This is me, I have to do this, I have to achieve this, I have this desire, I have to fulfill this. And then one desire gets over, the next one starts. And then relationships and the misery and joy that comes from it. So one Swami ji said, इस दुनिया में भगवान को छोड़कर कहीं भी दिल लगाया तो दुख ही भोगना पड़ेगा. In this world, other than God, you invest your heart or your emotions in anything or anyone, at the end you will be miserable only. Only if you are invested in God will you find some joy in this world also. But if you spend your time, energy, resources and your life in pursuit of anything other than God in this world, you are going to be miserable only at the end. There is no two ways about it. That is why Buddha kept saying, the root cause of all the sorrow in this world is desire. So Buddhism philosophy is very simple and straight. It says, get rid of desire, get rid of sorrow. And then you attain nirvana, they say. Nirvana means crossing over to the other side. But without getting rid of desire, one cannot get rid of sorrow. It's very simple. Whether good desire, bad desire, all desires lead to sorrow only at the end. So, method is replace the bad desires with good desires and eventually throw the good desires also away. Have no desires. Live as per the will of the divine. Like the dry leaf that floats in the wind without any direction or destination or desire of its own. It goes wherever the wind takes. Likewise, wherever the God's will takes us, we'll go there. We are not insistent, this is where we should be, this is how we should be, this is what we should be doing. No such insistence. That avrati we should become. Free from such stubbornness. Wherever the divine will takes us, we will happily go following the divine will. We have no other ideas of where we should be, what we should be doing, nothing like that. Because as I said just now, even if you invest your time, energy in anything of the world, at the end you will be miserable only. That is written. That's the rule. No, somehow I'll find I'm very smart. Somehow I'll outdo this design of the world and somehow I'll experience some joy. Fooling yourself. The only place, only time, only situation you will experience joy is when you are contemplating on the divine or you're experiencing self within. There is no other way. There is no other way. All other pleasures are temporary. In fact, they look good in the beginning, but they are poisonous at the end. They are those fruits that are sweet in the beginning, but poisonous at the end. That is the nature of the world. The only solution is invest in God. Invest all your time, energy, and all your resources in God. That alone will give you permanent happiness. As I said, this is not possible unless you are totally convinced about it. Totally convinced. Even if you have 1% doubt that this may not be true, maybe I can still find a way to manage to enjoy the world and still become God. Not possible. It's binary, as I said, it is either or. It is 0 and 1. Either you are one God with God or you are not at all with God. You are fully with the world. 50% with God, 50% with the world. Such a concept does not exist. You are only fooling yourself that you are able to do that. Either you are this or you are that. So that clarity and conviction should be in everybody's head. That is the idea of mumukshutva, which means burning desire to realize the self. And all this bubukshatva, that is desire to enjoy the world, should disappear. I once had 1,000 desires, but in my one desire to know you, all my other desires melted away, says Rumi. Everybody has thousands of desires, but if you develop that one desire to know God, all other desires will melt away, disappear. Because that purpose will become so clear. You will be only driven by that. Everything else does not matter anymore to you. So know God and know yourself, and that is how you should live.